Hi, my name is Dave Irvine, the Executive Director here at the Highlands Center for Natural History. And as you all know by now, we are celebrating our 25th anniversary of the legal incorporation of the Highlands Center. Our roots date back to the early community nature center here in town, but we've been going strong for quite a few years. And today we are going to be talking about adult education programs, which has always been a key component of our lifelong learning approach here at the Highlands Center. So I am joined by two special guests today who have been very involved in those kind of programs, Jane Kowalewski and Mary Krzyik. Thank you both for joining me today. And we're just going to start off, I think, with Mary, and we're going to ask you just kind of how long you've gotten involved and what are the many roles that you've played in this organization's history.
Oh my. So my name is Mary Krzyik, and I began with the Highlands Center for Natural History in May of 2000 as a staff member, starting off as office manager, and sort of whatever needed to be done was done. And then I left for a while, retired, and took a little break, came back as a volunteer, and then just became the chair of the education committee and on the board of directors. And that's been my involvement since May of 2000. So about 22 years.
Yeah.
And I'm Jane Kowalewski, and I have been involved with the Highlands Center since moving to Prescott in 2005. I was invited to a fundraiser by my oldest friend in Prescott, who was Elizabeth Ruffner at the time, and that introduced me to Joan Dukes, who brought me out here to the site and walked me through the stick-framed building that has become our education building. So it was just in the beginnings of the development of this site that I got involved in, and was very happy to be here because this is a whole new environment for me at that time. Although I'm a native Californian, I spent 20 years in Memphis, Tennessee, and the high desert is not in either of those, were in either of those environments. So at any rate, that's how I got to the Highlands Center.
And both of you were involved as a facility was being built, and I forgot to say in our introduction that we are on the Crossings Bridge in the James Family Discovery Gardens and the Margaret T. Morris Crossings Bridge that you're seeing behind us here today. And so both of you have been very involved in education programs for adults and for families. So tell us, what is your passion for adult education component of what the Highlands Center does? Jane, you want to start?
It's educating people to this environment. There's been so many people that have moved into Prescott and Yavapai County in the last 25 years. We did take a hiatus during the economic downturn of the 20 knots. Thank you. Anyhow, and I think it's tremendous. I came to the Highlands Center and availed myself of just about every educational opportunity that I had, just to learn more about this environment that I had moved into. And I was quizzed early on. I was a great devotee of the Community Nature series, and I think Fiona was shocked when I showed up for the third year, because I said, no, I have to hear things 3 times before they sink in, and I continued to attend those pretty much every February I was here for quite a number of years. But for the adult education, I think that's the most important part, is to keep informed about the forest, about the grasslands, about the high desert, and all the flora and fauna and the birds and the bees and everything that goes along with it. And like I said, I keep coming back for more. And this is, almost 25 years later, 22 years later. So at any rate, I think was there more to that question?
No, that's good.
Okay.
Mary?
Well, I think I became involved. I came from the Midwest, so it was entirely a new environment for me. My husband was a research ecologist, and he came to help with the beginning of an environmental program at Embry-Riddle. So it was kind of a natural connection for me that I made through a couple of longtime members. And my interest in adult education was to make sure everybody that moves here knows how precious and how wonderful this area is. We are 5 ecoregions together. So wherever you go a little ways and you're out of that ecoregion. Yeah. And our programs have centered around that. Like Jane, I've been involved in the community nature study centers throughout the years on and off. And when I finally retired, I was able to take the whole thing, which was really wonderful. But I always tried to attend programs. And Fiona Reed, who was our education director at the time, was an amazing teacher, whether she was with kids or adults. So was Nicole Truchell, our executive director at the time. And also she was a botanist. So we learned all the plants, and you have to take them 5 or 6 times for me to learn them. But so it's very important to me that we continue these adult programs, and that if you're new to the community, it's a great way to learn about our resources and how we can maintain them and become land keepers for them.
It's about learning about your new ecological neighborhood if you moved here from someplace else. And a lot of people seek us out that way today and in the past. And you've both been instrumental in providing those opportunities. So think about if there are any particular stories, what we like to call mission moments here at the Highlands Center, that come to mind during those adult education programs.
I think for me, one particular time, it was way back when we were not even out here with a building yet. We were out here on the trails, and Fiona was doing a walk, and we were down by the creek, and we have a small amphitheater there, and we were able to just sit and journal about what we saw, what we were learning, and that was really special to me. And I still have that little journal that we did. Recently, I think the adult day camp that we did to give our adult education committee members and board members an opportunity to see how our kids go to camp and learn was so fun and so learning. It was just, we learned things the way kids learned them. We experienced them for the first time in a childlike way, but yet in an adult way. So those were 2 fun things. And I have to say, my connection with my husband, because he also taught classes here during the past years, and he did a tremendous job. So I learned a lot from his lectures as well. And our classes are all science-based. So they're all good quality education, and that's a great way to learn about where you live.
Yeah, and Tony was our go-to whenever we found something out in nature we didn't know what it was, because there's always surprises in the Central Arizona Highlands. I would pick up the phone and he would have an answer for me within about an hour.
Yeah.
I think for me, there's too many moments to quantify, but in reflecting on this, aside from a lot of those classes and trips to the creek and even just walking around the Stretch Pebble Trail and experiencing that for the first few times, and the adult camp was, I've been trying to get them to do that for years, and they finally pulled it off when I was in town. But I've also, over the years, taken a number of drawing classes with Diana Iverson, and the fact that from that first class that she actually showed me I could draw, which I never thought I could do, best I could come up with was stick figures. And she, brings that whole new artistic view of the forest and the animals, and that's been great. And here it is about 10 years later, and I'm still taking her class at least a couple of times a year. So there's wonderful things going on. Even the new Discovery Gardens are, just a wonderful place to discover things. And when I don't have any children myself, but when I'm here watching other people's children, that's special. That's really special to me, especially in the play area and different places like that. So I guess that's
great. So as you think ahead, maybe to the next 25 years, what kind of thoughts come to your mind for this organization?
That's a really good question, and it's one that the Education Committee is starting to look at now as we look how we might make better use of technology as a tool to learn, when we have good internet here, but we need better internet. So when we have better internet, it will help us be able to set up stations in the Discovery Gardens, particularly so that perhaps if you have an app, you click on that app and it will tell you all about that plant or that tree or that habitat. The other thing is to continue our regular programs so that people can come and actually experience. With the past couple of years being different because of COVID, our education staff has done a tremendous job of putting things online so you can watch it from the comfort of your own home. It makes you want to be here. This is a very special place, and it brings a special feeling to almost everyone who comes here. So I think the involvement of technology, along with the continuation of our in-person classes and our online classes and our talented and educated staff, is what will help us survive and keep us going in the next 25 years.
I totally agree with Mary in that the staff is fabulous and they're very creative, and they're taking us along with them on this journey, which is very exciting. But I think our main focus has got to be still the teaching basically to teach adults and children both about our environment, about this area, but also so they realize more about their impacts on it. And as our population's growing again, we need to really focus more and more on that aspect of it, because one thing I've learned over the years is the impact that we have as individuals on this wonderful environment, and I want to protect it. So that's kind of my...
Yeah, and part of our mission statements talks about helping people be wise caretakers of the earth, and especially this place here in the central Arizona Highlands. And so you both have done a wonderful job of helping that be transferred to other people. Is there any other thoughts that come to mind for you want to share before we wrap things up today?
I think I would just like to issue an invitation. If you have not been out to our site at 1375 Walker Road, then come out, visit us, take a walk through the Discovery Gardens, take a walk on the trails. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience, and it makes you want to come back almost every day and spend that time outside and join us for our programs. We have great, great programs and great staff. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you both for being with us here today and taking the time to share a little bit about those adult education programs. And they are continuing on, part because of your fine leadership of both of you on the Education Committee here at the Center. And thank you all for joining us as well, as we will have future videos upcoming, talking to other people who have made things happen here at the Highlands Center for Natural History. And if you want to learn more about what's going on today, you can always go to our website at highlandscenter.org and see the whole list of exciting programs that are coming up that these two wonderful women have helped plan. So thanks, Gum, and we'll see you again soon.